AMD stock seems to like be AMD stock seems to be tied up to a rocket as this stock just continues to go up. Today the stock was up nearly 8%. Talking about rockets, what if I told you Nvidia was actually going to go on a rocket ship with its chips? Not crazy. I'm going to tell you a little bit more in today's episode. And we're also going to take a closer look at some recent news impacting the overall market from some recent data center updates from companies like CoreWeave. ASML just reported earnings, and some other AI companies like Anthropic talking about massive revenue in 2026. What this means for AI investors, let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so let's start off with AMD. This stock has been a monster. In the past 5 days, the stock is pretty much flat, right? I mean, it's not much of a movement, but in the past month or so, the stock is up roughly 48%. A lot of bullish sentiment has happened since the OpenAI deal, since we also saw the massive deal with Oracle that we talked about yesterday, and all this is creating a lot of excitement for the stock. I'm going to continue to say this. All these deals that are coming out for AMD, in my opinion, paved the way for a $1 trillion market opportunity. Not a guaranteed, but an opportunity. And the path is getting smoother and smoother as we continue to see all these deals come in place. Now, one of the main reasons the stock is up today is we did get 2 price targets. Wedbush and HSBC both upgraded their price targets on AMD. Now, here is a quick upgrade at a glance. HSBC previous target was 185. They jumped that up to $310. That is massive. And the rating is now a buy. Main reason is OpenAI deal, increased AI GPU revenue visibility, CoWoS capacity growth. We also saw Wedbush increase from 190 to 270 on, again, very similar Oracle and OpenAI deals. They believe for this upcoming year, $20 billion of AI data center revenue for the upcoming year estimated, right? That is insane. This company has not done 20 billion, just the last 12 months. I did it. If we look at these charts here from fiscal.ai, in the last 12 months, it's done about $29.6 billion. So analysts are getting a lot bullish on this overall stock. And if we look right now here on charts from fiscal.ai, if you are a long-term investor, make sure to check out fiscal.ai/Jose. This is a platform I use every single day for data, for transcripts, and the list goes on and on. And with my offer, you get 15% off. I 100% recommend it. Now, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth here. So HSBC, the price target of 310, that is insane. One of the main reasons is just that OpenAI partnership, which paints a more favorable picture. And I agree. I talked about this when this went on, that this opens up the opportunity for this company to continue to develop amazing AI GPUs. They see AI GPU revenue to achieve roughly $37.5 billion in AI GPU revenue by 2027. This is way above the consensus, which is roughly $26.8 billion of AI GPU in 2027. And they mentioned that the MI450 is kind of being a nice competitive player to NVIDIA's rack scale solutions. Now, I am an NVIDIA bull as well. So I agree there is some competition, but I really wouldn't put NVIDIA out of the fight anytime soon. So that's HSBC. Now, if we look at Wedbush new target of 270. Again, primary drivers, those 2 massive deals. The Oracle that we talked about yesterday, which was 50,000 AMD MI450s. The other one was the OpenAI 6 gigawatt capacity. Now, in forms of earnings estimates, they project AMD's AI data center revenue to hit $20 billion by 2027, boosting earnings per share estimates to $9 for fiscal year 2027. This gives about a 30x PE multiple on 2027 earnings expectations. I don't think that's crazy with the overall markets that we're in right now. So overall, we can see the bullish sentiment behind the stock. Even I would say I think I'm closer to HSBC in forms of revenue expectations and the demand of this overall AI market. Now, let's jump in here to Nvidia. Nvidia was pretty much flat for the day. It's been Year to date, the stock is still doing pretty well, up roughly 30%. We also did see a price target hike from HSBC for Nvidia, $320. The main reason is they expect and they upwarded the revision on their fiscal year 2027 data center revenue to $351 billion, which is 36% above consensus, which is currently around $258 billion. And then with the fiscal year 2027 earnings per share of roughly $9.68. So here, overall, HSBC is very bullish into the overall market. Now, at the beginning of this episode, I talked about NVIDIA going to the moon or riding a rocket ship, and it wasn't clickbait. So today, NVIDIA announced this pretty cool blog, how StarCloud is bringing data centers to outer space. This is wild. So the NVIDIA Inception startup projects that NVIDIA Inception startup projects that space-based data centers will offer 10 times lower energy costs and reduce the need for energy consumption on Earth. So pretty much you can see this company is a startup, right? This isn't real. This is what they're trying to do is they're trying to build like these massive data centers of 5 gigawatts data center GPUs. And I'm going to guess everything outside here is kind of like a solar farm base that you can have in space. And now you can have massive data centers in space, and you don't have to worry about any form of power needs. Now, obviously, there's a lot of issues that come with this. First is I'm pretty sure the ability to ship things like this would be very expensive. So the initial cost of building data centers would be crazy, but then you reduce the kind of cost of energy at the same time. But I would say initial cost is pretty high. It's still kind of a concept, but they are and another issue, obviously, just that I can think of, what if something breaks? How easy would it go for someone to go and reset the GPUs, right? What is the reliability of these products? Well, on November, the first satellite is launching, planned for November, will mark the NVIDIA's H100 GPU cosmic debut and the first time a state-of-the-art data center class GPU is in outer space. So they're going to send something in outer space to try to test it out. I don't see this happening anytime soon, but it's just cool to see a company developing it. And I just want to showcase that this is where we're at in the market, right? The market needs so much compute, it needs so much power that there's companies out there, and this is part of NVIDIA's AI Inception program that is working on data centers on the moon, data centers on space. Maybe in the moon eventually. I don't know. Maybe in Mars. Maybe this is Elon Musk also's secret plan of having massive data centers all over Mars and whatsoever. Latency is also another different issue of forms of how quickly we can kind of send that data over from different planets and different places and spaces. But regardless, I just thought it's cool. The company's CEO, which is obviously going to be bullish, mentions that in 10 years, nearly all new data centers will be built in outer space. If this is true, we have 10 years to think of investment opportunities, but it's something I think maybe we should keep an eye out every year or so, maybe kind of see what this cloud company is doing. So the company is called StarCloud. So interesting. Just wanted to share with you, the viewers. We can see it's a very small team, it seems like right now. Now, kind of focusing here on NVIDIA, Nscale, which is a massive data center player in Europe. We've talked about them in the past. Nscale and Microsoft announced it has signed an expanded deal with Microsoft to approximately 200,000 NVIDIA GB300 GPUs of hyperscale NVIDIA AI infrastructure across Europe and the United States in one of the largest AI infrastructure contracts ever signed. This is in collaboration with Dell Technologies, and this came out today on October 15th. Now, Nscale will deliver approximately 104,000 NVIDIA GB300s in a 240 megawatts hyperscale AI campus starting in Q3 of 2026. They also have some other products out there. Now, I like this because we can actually do reverse math. 240 megawatts for 104,000 NVIDIA GB300 GPUs. We can see how much megawatts can actually create a nice amount of fleet. We see here that roughly a 50 megawatt facility or to a 90 megawatt facility can host roughly 23,000 NVIDIA GB300s. The reason I bring this up is because if you are investing in minor companies, you can actually see these numbers and maybe run some revenue numbers to see what type of revenue they can grow with the type of megawatt capacity that they have. Another thing that we did see from NVIDIA is today there were reports that NVIDIA, Microsoft, BlackRock, and Elon Musk XAI are part of a consortium of investors that have agreed to purchase Align data centers for $40 billion, the companies announced Wednesday. With this overall investment is just to have more data centers and further the delivering of infrastructure. Now, they currently operate 50 campuses and have more than 5 gigawatts of operation. So in theory, if you can assume 5 gigawatts cost about $40 billion, because most likely they're going to retrofit these data centers for AI data centers, you're paying about 800 megawatts per, 800 million dollars per, not 800 million, $8 billion per gigawatts, right? So that's a lot of money, and you can kind of do the math back and math to see how much you're actually getting per megawatts in forms of dollars. Now, the next company I want to take a closer look at is CoreWeave. CoreWeave is actually up 3.8% today. A lot of the minor companies and overall AI infrastructure companies continue to do really, really well. No major news for CoreWeave today, just the excitement of the overall space. But it does seem like today they posted something to maybe take a shot of some of these other AI players. You guys know me. CoreWeave is my number one. It is my favorite position here in forms of AI infrastructure. And this is one of the reasons they didn't retrofit yesterday's cloud for AI. The CoreWeave cloud is purposely built for the builders of the future, making it the essential cloud for AI built by pioneers for pioneers. It's obviously more of a catchy marketing phrase, but it is true. I mean, a lot of these companies, the minor companies, even old data center companies, they're retrofitting their stuff to be an AI player. CoreWeave is not retrofitting anything. They're building it for the AI and for the future. Now, I want to jump into ASML here. ASML did report earnings, and they had a decent earnings, right? It wasn't bad. Market was up 2.7%. They did share some sentiment that also created a nice amount of bullish for the overall semiconductor space. We saw, for example, TSM was up nearly 3% on the day. So for ASML, net bookings were down quarter over quarter, but I think they expect this to kind of change throughout the upcoming quarters. Some of the CEO statements. On the market side, we have seen continued positive momentum around investments in AI and have also seen this extending to more customers, both in leading edge logic and advanced DRAM, aka HBM. On the other hand, we expect China customers' demand and therefore our China total net sales in 2026 to decline significantly compared to our very strong business there in 2024 and 2025. So overall, we're seeing a lot of great excitements for the AI market, for the memory market, for the logic market. Now, they do not expect 2026 net sales to be below 2025. We will provide more details in our 2026 outlook. For the full year of 2025, they expect an increase of around 15% in total net sales and gross margins of around 52%, with a very strong fourth quarter. If you have a strong fourth quarter, I do believe it's going to continue that trend for the next year. So two ways can happen. January can happen and they say, look, we're not going to see lower net sales than 2025, but we're not going to grow by much. And or they can say, look, fourth quarter is just the beginning. From here on out, we're going to see a lot more growth. But regardless, the market seems to have liked the momentum right now. So I will be doing and covering it a little bit more on my newsletter for free later tonight. So make sure to check out whatthechiphappened.com. I will have both obviously the free side and then the deep dive within if you want to obviously pay in for the paywalls behind it. Now, another excitement, we can see that Samsung is expected to invest $770 million in latest EUV equipment, which can also be very bullish for ASML. And that kind of was announced earlier this morning based on reports here. And that could be creating kind of that bullish trend for ASML as well. Now, if companies are investing in EUV, it's because they need more demand. More demand means a better AI and better chip market in general. Now we're going to go to some news impacting the overall space. And if you made it this far, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. It was pretty cool. Some of the comments on yesterday's episodes that mentioned they watched the whole video. I think it's crazy. I just want to say thank you all for the support you've been giving me. I'm really trying to hit 85,000 subs this year. But if I don't, this has been a great year for me. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. Now, back to this Anthropic revenue. So, Anthropic mentions that they are on pace to have $9 billion of revenue for this year. And we can see internally, they have a goal of $9 billion of revenue by year's end. But the most impressive thing is by 2026, they expect $26 billion in revenue. That is crazy. The amount of compute that they're going to need is crazy. But this is almost on par with OpenAI. I think OpenAI was expecting somewhere around 30 something billion in 2026. Anthropic is not, it's definitely killing it. They're doing really well with their overall Claude, and it definitely seems to be taking the software market for storm. I actually enjoy Claude. It's probably one of my favorite models right now with their 4.5. And today they even announced Haiku, Haiku 4.5, which again, they really talk about it for software engineering basis, but I like it for a lot of the research that I do. But I thought it was pretty interesting. Those numbers are also going to help with OpenAI and helps kind of like pay off for some of the compute that they need. Now, Google also announced some pretty cool AI solutions. They announced edit images in their Google Workspace and Slides, Notebooks LM, Video Overview got a huge upgrade with 6 new visual styles. More importantly, I actually don't have, here we go, Veo 3 came out, and it is insane. The type of videos that you can come up with AI right now are wild, extremely, extremely wild. And Google is cooking. Google is cooking. All of these people are cooking. I'm enjoying it as an AI investor. I can see this continuing to grow and grow and grow and grow. So I covered a lot today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know I've been talking about AMD almost on a daily basis, but there's so much more that I'm missing. And that's why on Saturday, I will be doing my AMD weekly, where I will be covering those niche and little things that I haven't covered, because so much has been discussed by this company just in some recent events that happened in the past few days. So stay tuned, peace out, and see you all next time.